What's going on, guys? I am Controlled Pears. This is Controlled Pears Gaming, and today we're playing some The Hunter. If you're not familiar with it, The Hunter is a free-to-play hunting simulator offered both on their own website at thehunter.com and also on Steam. I'm playing it on Steam, and it's a game that I played a long time ago, but I got away from, and I've come back to it, and I'm really, really happy with it. I'm having a blast with this game. I don't know if you can hear the excitement in my voice, but I'm loving it. So I captured some footage yesterday of a really good hunt that I had going on White Hart Island, which is one of the hunting reserves that is available. You see me here drawing out my plan. I dropped about 40 bucks into this game because while it is free to play, they use microtransactions to allow you to purchase like new weapons and licenses to hunt different animals and give you access to different things within the game. So I did spend about 40 bucks, well worth it in my opinion. With that $40, I got, in addition to several other things, a tent and a bow. And so my mission on this hunt is to take my bow out and see if I can bag a trophy whitetail buck. And so I've mapped out my route. I've selected where I want to go place my tent in the middle of the map, which will act as a mobile spawn point for me. And as soon as we leave camp, we hear that whitetail grunt. And so instead of going directly to where I wanted to put my tent up, I instead am immediately distracted and decide I want to go after this whitetail buck that I hear grunting as soon as I come out of the camp. I'm also involved in a couple competitions currently on the Hunter on their webpage. So they host competitions pretty much 24/7, and they award the winners of those competitions with in-game currency. So instead of having to spend real money in order to purchase some of the premium items, you can actually take your winnings from those competitions and purchase those in-game items. So it's been about 3 or 4 minutes of time have elapsed. I managed to call in that buck that we heard grunting as soon as we had left the campsite, and he starts moving in. Turns out to be a little, what looks like a little 6-point basket buck. And he is a whitetail. Unfortunately, in the competition I'm involved, it's going by heaviest weight. And so he might be a big fat guy, but it still doesn't matter because one of the requirements of the competition is that I kill the whitetail from a tree stand, and I'm not in my tree stand right now. But whenever I hear a deer grunt, you know, I want to put him down. So that's exactly what we're doing. Managed to call him in. He is downwind from me, so I'm at risk of being detected by him as he comes in. I am wearing some camouflage, so it's kind of difficult for him to see me. But because he's downwind of me, I'm upwind of him, he could smell my scent, and so I take this shot from a little far off. I hit him center mass. I had the reticle right on his chest when I pulled the trigger, but unfortunately he did run off, and so I have to take out my little GPS and start tracking the blood trail to figure out where this guy went down. It actually took me about 8 to 10 minutes to track him down, but this is kind of one of the cool features of the game, and I could do a whole tutorial video about how to use your little hunter's mate to track animals, but suffice it to say that you just follow those red dots on the ground, and each one provides you with a little bit more information about the direction of travel of your animal and its position relative to you. And so after about 8 or 10 minutes of tracking him, I finally managed to locate him about 500 meters away from where I initially shot him. But once I find him, I hear footsteps in the area as well. And at this point I was a little bit frustrated that I had to walk so far to harvest this buck, and I had a couple does walking up on me, so I said screw it, I'm going to go ahead and bag these 2 does as well. partly out of frustration. Nice clean shot there. She goes down right away, doesn't even move. And partly because I wanted to also experiment with where I should be placing these arrows on the deer. I do hunt in real life. I do not bow hunt in real life. And so using the bow and arrow is such a big challenge for me. But that's exactly why I use the bow in this game, because it is a huge challenge. You have to get these animals incredibly close to you. And I'm not even joking. Make fun of me all you want. It's such a challenge, and it's so difficult to find animals in this game, that whenever they're as close as this little deer is right now, you get a legitimate physical reaction. Like, my heart rate increases, I get a little adrenaline rush, and this is from virtual hunting in The Hunter. But it's awesome. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I'm really, really enjoying the game. So we harvest this buck, and then we also go over and we harvest both of those does. We started this hunt at 6 a.m. on White Hart Island. and I wanted to be in my tree stand looking for that trophy buck no later than 8 a.m. And because I ended up having to track this guy for 8 or 10 real life minutes, we're a little bit behind schedule, and I still haven't even got to put my tent down at the campsite. And so unfortunately, we are a little bit behind schedule, so immediately following this, I headed straight for that campsite, and I got my tent down right away so that I could then move to the tree stand. As soon as I had that, and you can hear there's a doe bleat in the background as well. And these other animals, you can see I got some clean shots. They tore up their vital organs pretty good and put them down immediately, so they didn't run off at all. I didn't want to take that chance again. Definitely have to be careful where I'm putting those bow shots. So I kind of wiped the plan that I had initially made as far as where I wanted to put the tent and where I wanted to go find my tree stand. And I ended up actually moving my tree stand a little bit later on. But here I've moved about 400 meters to the northeast, and I've got a place to put my tent down. I finally get that tent placed down. That provides me a mobile spawn point within the map. It also gives me access to my inventory. And so I had heard some elk bugling in the area, so I actually swapped out some of my collars and I grabbed an elk bugle and some scents. And then I finally got to my tree stand, and instead of a deer walking up, I see this giant bull elk. And this was the first bull elk that I had seen in the Hunter, and I had a mission to harvest a bull elk as well, and so I really wanted to take him. But look at this. It's actually a herd. There was 5 or 6 bull elk in the area, but because I hadn't seen a bull elk in the area before, and these are the Roosevelt elk species, and they're all just male, so that's why I'm referring to them as bull elk. But because I hadn't seen any of them before, I couldn't spot them and determine their weight and their score, and so I had to eyeball all of it based off of my very limited knowledge of how elk are scored. And basically I just looked for the biggest bastard with the most giant freaking antlers, and I hope that I did that correctly. If you're a pro at this game, let me know how I did. So I've got 5 elk on my right side, and I also hear one over my left shoulder as well. I'm up in my tree stand, which is why they haven't spooked, because I'm camouflaged, and I'm also above their noses, so they can't smell me. Make that 6 now on the right side. And you can see there my spotting just went up to level 2. Now that big guy, I finally decided I wanted to take him, but he's starting to walk away from me, so I bugle to see if I can get him to turn. At first he doesn't appear to be responsive, and there's the 7th elk that just walked past me on the left. And what sounds like an 8th maybe right behind me that responded to my bugle. But look at that, the big guy finally turned around. I've got him coming back towards me. He responded to that bugle. I take another look at each of the other elk that's around me, and it definitely looks like he is the largest one that is available to me, so he's the one I'm going to select to harvest. He's a big creature, so I want to make sure that when I do fire on him, I hit vital organs. I don't want to be chasing him all over the map and spend the rest of the morning trying to locate him. And I'm telling you, by this time, my heart was legitimately pounding. Like, I was a little concerned about my marksmanship because I was so pumped to take this elk for the first time. And you have to take a look at this shot. He finally gets within range. I draw back, fire, and he doesn't even move a step after that arrow hits him. I wait a few more minutes, give him time to bleed, and let everybody else leave the area. Finally, I jump out of my stand, head on over, and for the first time I get to see this big harvest up close and personal. And he's actually really pretty elk. You'll see momentarily how he scored. Of course, I got to get the picture of it. My first elk harvest. And he looks awesome. I think he scored, it was in the 300s, like 340, I think. 315, 340, something like that. I might be over-exaggerating. Guys, in our next video, The Hunter, we're going to do some duck hunting. So you get to look forward to this. It's a little louder, a little bit more exciting. I'm really, really enjoying this game. I hope that you guys like this footage. I know it's a little bit different than what I usually do as far as Rocket League and everything else. But it's a game I'm really passionate about, and I'm really enjoying right now. So usually this is where I would tell you to check out a related video, but it's my first Hunter video, so I don't have any related videos. Instead, if this is your first time here, I encourage you to watch the video below, which is an explanation of what I do on YouTube and why I do what I do on YouTube. All my new subscribers from my last video, thank you guys so much for checking out the channel. I really do appreciate it. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I would really encourage you to do so. We play all sorts of great games, and until next time, this is Controlled Pairs, signing off.